One thing I'm not going to say here is that I'm a good man. I'm not going to do that. Like, don't call me here. I'm only saying that Muema is a good man. I'm currently still messing up.
And it's progress. Like it's not
Yeah.
perfection. It's the right direction.
Yeah.
That's what matters.
I want to talk especially to young men.
Yeah.
Because I may not know the other experience. And the truth is, a lot of young men are lost, man. In this generation. There's no older gen to tell you this is the way to go. Our parents, a lot of us, if you grew up in Nairobi, you know what? Like, I grew up with my parents just working. If you are someone, if you're in a dark place, all I'll say is get up and walk, right? And have faith that the sun will shine again. And another thing is, men only grow in the presence of other men.
You must believe in the unseen more than the seen until the unseen becomes the seen in your life.
Welcome to Sight and Spirit.
Yes, guys. What's good, people? It's Muli Mundi here, back in studio. I'm joined by my great co-host, Glenn Wangi.
Yo.
Yes. So today we're back with another episode. First of all, this is Sight and Spirit, where you must believe in the unseen more than the seen.
Until the unseen becomes a scene in your life.
Amen. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
Is that the intro?
So today I'm joined by a friend of mine, long-term friend. You know, I've known this guy. He's called Muema for a long time. He's seen me grow. I've seen him grow. He's a businessman now. He's a father. He's a serious man. You know what I mean? And today's conversation is very
father
relevant.
and husband.
Father,
You just put that together.
yes,
Someone can just assume like,
baby daddy.
So today's episode is gonna be very relevant. We're gonna talk about men's depression. We're gonna talk about quarter life crisis. We're gonna talk about also your journey, about how you've become the man that you are today. You know, I want to dive deep. I want to dig deep into the things that you never really tell people. But before we get to that, I want to read a scripture that I think will help someone. This is in the topic of anyone who is craving direction from God, clarity from God. Proverbs 3:5-6 says this: trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him and he shall direct your paths. So for me, this scripture reminds you of there's some things that you just never really understand, and if you try to understand, you'll go crazy. But in all your ways acknowledge God, literally in every intricate thing that you are taking a part of in every day. Just take time to acknowledge God in the simple things, thanking him for every single thing that you're a part of, everything that he's provided for you, anything that you're not conscious of. Like, it's those things that, even just the fact that you have breath in your lungs, that's a sign that God is not done with you, and he will eventually give you direction. So as someone who has experienced a lot of seasons of uncertainty and everything, that scripture will help you. So I don't know if you have a scripture
and
you want to read as well.
add to that, Proverbs 19:21. Many are the plans in the mind of a man, but it is the purpose of the Lord that will stand. So with that, I think it's just aligning our plans with his purpose. So we have to ask the question, what is God's purpose? What is God's purpose for our lives, our relationships, all of that, and then figure out how to
exactly
come there.
maneuver. I think it's powerful. So two things: lean not on your own understanding and allow God's plan to take sovereignty in your life. So Mama, talk to us, bro. Tell us about the beginning, the episodes of
The beginning.
your Genesis story. You know, talk to people. I mean, CEO of Lucania. You know, I'm not going to say too much. I'll let you do it.
No, honestly, I mean, thanks for having me, guys. You guys are running a very serious ship here. You guys have me on my podcast. I have some old cameras. You guys have 3 lights, man. You guys are moving mad. Anyway, I like this. I mean, I may not say my genesis. I can say I work in a family business. I don't think I'm a serious guy like you say. I'm just.
Come on, let's be
I'm
serious.
a guy who's going through life and who is trying his best to use what God has given me to try and expand it.
But what made you get into the family business? Was there before Muema's.
Okay.
Because I knew you from school.
Yeah.
You were my biggest op. This guy was
Biggest
my
op.
biggest bully.
Really?
I was not a bully, bro.
Him and my bro.
Yeah.
Oh my days. Tinder, if you're watching this, you know that
Tinder,
this
my
is the
guy.
truth. These guys used to bully me, man. They used to trigger things in me. I never even thought could be
Bro, it's
triggered.
character development. I mean, a bit of bullying is necessary by then.
Yeah.
The world is becoming soft, you guys, huh? I think it's necessary. But no, on the real, I left for you. I left to Barcelona for uni.
Yeah.
Came back and I was...
Cheesy a bit though, but let's talk about Barcelona. What is that experience like?
You see, I think I left the country. Honestly, it was just peer pressure. I had no business leaving. Like, I could have done my degree here. But at the same point, I just started seeing my boys leaving. All of them in the UK, States. I'm like, I'm not staying here. And then I also didn't want to go to UK and be with all the other Kenyans. Brighton, posted, you know. So I had two options. It was going to be in Hawaii or Barcelona.
Damn, what
Hawaii.
are you gonna do?
Yeah, I got accepted to the University of Hawaii in Manao.
Yo,
What?
Like,
why did you
That's
choose Hawaii?
interesting.
Why didn't you choose Hawaii?
Because then I picked the degree that didn't have math. I didn't want to do the basic whatever. So I went to business school. I studied entrepreneurship, whatever that degree earns. You know, I mean, that's one of the most basic degrees, just to pass, to give a paper. But then I picked up a lot of, shall we say, demons. Spiritual baggage in uni.
Let's unpack that a bit.
Yeah, bro. I mean, uni was... But I think uni is a season that a lot of people go through. It's not really about the degree. It was the character development. Uni shifts your mindset. Like that's the time you're trying to figure out your position in this world. You've left high school, so you need bravado, ego. You start encountering these things. You're not in your dad's house anymore. So now you're in the man of your own little corner. So you need to kind of like influence your circle. And then you start relying on other things. I won't say you, I started relying on other things. I started drinking and partying and doing a lot of extras.
Yeah, you
testing a lot of things. Yeah, bro.
I don't know how much we can say because of
Bro, no.
the internet is forever.
Yeah, no. But no, I mean, listen, Muli, you called me out. You
Juju.
called me out, and I think this normally makes me feel uncomfortable. But I don't really like to be vulnerable or open up.
Yes. That's what
but
friends are for. You know,
But not a podcast, right? You know, right?
No. But I think we have great conversations, and I think there's a lot I've learned about myself. There's a lot I've learned from seeing you grow in the last few years of your journey as well. And I think a lot of people need to be able to see that vulnerability because a lot of men don't want to show that because of, again, the internet is forever. You know, these things can be used against you. You know, and so it's powerful that you've now been able to embrace. Actually, I'll ask you that later though. But you're embracing now what truly being a man is.
But you know the truth is, everyone here is. I was out with this guy.
Yeah, we're bashing.
Yeah,
heavily as
bashments.
well.
Glenn's also turned around, like
Yeah.
a new season.
Yeah.
There's a point, you Muli, you had your season, and you started young.
Yeah.
You sent
guy-
left and right.
This guy used to
Yeah.
catch me in house parties
Yo.
having shisha.
Glenn
That's
was
how-
our ambassador outside. Yeah, Glenn was our chairman. He used to say, hey, Glenn, yo, give us a shot, bro. Yeah, Glenn used to have his booty posted, bro.
Now he's
I
the
like
kingdom
Batman.
ambassador.
Now, King, hey, yo.
No, Kingdom
That's
Ambassador.
good.
Shout
That's
out,
good.
bro.
Because the truth here is, one thing I'm not going to say here is that I'm a good man. I'm not going to do that. Like, don't call me here, Muli, saying that Muema is a good man. I'm currently still messing up.
Nah, but you see, it's
Yeah.
not to say you're good or
That
evil.
you're living a repentant
But yes,
lifestyle.
you're very
Trying.
self-aware. That takes a lot of strength. You know.
And it's progress. Like
Yeah.
it's not perfection. It's the right direction.
Yeah, yeah.
That's what matters.
And I guess that is the journey. And the reason when you guys called me and said, come, let's talk about depression. First, I was irked about it. Muli was annoying me. He's like, nah, you have to open out. But I think that people out there stand to gain. To say that this journey is not perfect. Like for me, I mean, I used social media early. My earlier days was I needed social media to hide a lot of my scars, to hide a lot of the evil I felt I'd done. It was like in my growth path, and I know a lot of young men, and I want to talk especially to young men, because I may not know the other experience. And the truth is, a lot of young men are lost, man. In this generation, there's no older gen to tell you this is the way to go. Our parents, a lot of us, if you grew up in Nairobi, you know what? Like I grew up with my parents just working.
Yeah.
Pops was on the grind, trying to build something. And as I've grown, I younger, I wanted his attention. So I would maybe do things to get my folks' attention. But older, you can appreciate it. But then we almost needed to figure out our position as men in this world through our peers.
Yeah.
And we end up making some really foolish mistakes, hurting people.
So group think. A lot of it's the group think.
A lot of group think.
So let me ask you, let's talk about that internal struggle. When you've now finally achieved a certain level of success, you've proved to your family that you're not a cheesy the way you cheesy, And so what was the realization that success isn't necessarily what you thought it was?
I think that one has been a slow, steady one, and I think I'm still getting it today. I would say in all of the things that you're going to ask me, one thing I'm going to say is I've not arrived by any standards.
I don't think we ever do, though.
Yeah, but I need to say that for myself, because it's like, if I start thinking I've figured, that I try starting to give influence, I start trying to advise people, I'm not being humble. And the truth is the only way I keep growing is if I bring myself down. So, starting off, what changed in my perspective was just, I wasn't getting happier. I switched the alcohol, I stopped drinking in 2021 because, I started becoming Floyd Mayweather in the club, bro.
This guy was fighting everyone.
I don't know what I was fighting. Demons. Bro.
If you look at him sideways, he's scrapping.
Bro, I used to, Glenn, you'd see me out, Glenn.
I didn't know about that. No.
And Glenn was in the section. He was in the section. He was like,
another
this guy.
section, Chobai.
Yeah, bro, I was just doing dumb things. So I think what happened, what you call the turnaround, was me switching maybe one outlet of my pain for another. So I then got addicted to making a brand. That's something that I'm having to break now, because I began to associate myself with a brand and with creating an image. And so I did everything to look perfect. And I did everything to hide my evil side from myself, because I needed to. I was trying to work for my own repentance. I'd done some harm to people around and to myself. And I needed to prove to myself that I was worthy. And this is a battle, even today, bro. Still have to fight. But for me, I stopped drinking 2021, started working, started building. After first year and a half, we increased family business revenue, 10% increase from the highest year we've ever had. So I think my folks started to give me some clout. So I was like, okay, I started to feed on that. So that became my life. I lived, breathed, work. That became my personality. It's like, and then that wasn't fulfilling, because you hit the target, I would get micro depressions with success.
I feel that.
Because I'd be like, I've hit this, but I'm not getting what I wanted.
It's empty.
Yes.
Yeah, and then I ran and said, I said, I'm okay, let me get married. So at 22, I needed to prove, I've settled. So then I got married. 24, got a baby. Moved houses, got a bigger car. And all of these things on paper, I looked okay.
Yeah.
Let me not even say it nice, because there's people out there with a lot more, but I kept asking, why aren't I happy? Why aren't I happy? Something in me is missing. And why I say that I'm still going through this, because now unpacking long-term hurt, the same hurt that used to make me drink and fight, made me unsafe to maybe people. Because those periods I was unsafe to the people around me in my circles. And that can continue, because when a man is fighting himself,
projections.
I have a question about that. Do you think that ever goes away? Like the way I look at it is like some of those triggers, I think, that come in through drinking and those kind of things. And I feel like they can be tapped into by the wrong indulgence. Right. I think, like, for me now, the awareness is like, okay, like, it's not like if you go back to this lifestyle, you'll probably go back into a similar pattern.
100%.
You know what I'm saying? It's not now like because what you tend to think is like, okay, you've been 3 years out, whatever, and you think, oh, now if I go back, it's like I have control over this, and I'm going to do this responsibly. I'm not going to do this, da da da. But I don't know how to explain it. That's what I wanted to ask you. I think
100%. I think it's madness. It's
Yeah.
absolute madness. You know, towards the end of the going out stage, you begin to lose your mind. You start fighting demons. Because I believe in faith. Like, I've not been a religious person. I grew up in a religious home, but I've had to gain faith to gain sanity. I mean, like, I go to Bible study with these two lads, by the way, because all of us are just searching for more. And we're realizing the more is not in us. Like what you said is 100% true, dude. You test new things. So I stopped drinking, but then I started smoking weed a lot more. Maybe a year or something after. I started to become depressed. Again. Now, that depression was not maybe fighting. That depression was me isolating myself. Me locking myself in my room. Me starting to get socially anxious. Then after that, I was like, I don't like this. So I jumped to another thing, which was Jabba juice, which is something I really enjoyed, bro. I was like, this one is even easy. But that even brings its own madness. Because that one, I'm realizing, okay, now I'm thinking I'm on lock because I can be in the office till midnight. But I'm dropping my other obligation. I'm grinding, but I'm starting to drop other obligations. I'm starting to lose myself. And I'm starting to then rely on this thing to keep me going again. So the madness...
And it has a withdrawal as well. Yeah.
And then I realize I'm not sleeping for 2 days in a row. That brings its own madness with it, bro. And yeah, I mean, I guess these are things I normally wouldn't share, but I mean, let me be honest with people. Like, the struggle continues.
Yeah, most people are going through that even from this past weekend.
Yeah.
Watching.
And this next one to come, bro. Yeah.
I'm sure someone watching has gone through that this weekend.
Yeah. So you've talked about how you built a brand image to be able to now feed a certain aspect of what was missing. So how did your mental health begin to now shift as the pressure of becoming someone increased?
It wasn't becoming someone. It was me trying to be God of my own life. That's what destroyed. That's what started to get me. We as humans are not big enough to be God. There's a God-shaped hole in all of us. And I'm not talking like this because I'm the most religious or I'm the most upright guy or I know what I'm saying. I just know when I have God in my life, even for a season, that season works out well. When I don't have him, because even faith goes like that. It's like everything else in life, the valleys, the peaks.
And the peaks, yes.
Those valleys and peaks, when I'm tapped into my source, I do better. When I'm not tapped into my source.
So how do you tap in the valley?
Bro, I think the valley sometimes is the humility. You see, the valley sometimes is what you need to re-tap in. I think when you get to the peak, like for me, I start to think, who can tell me anything? The pride is the new madness. Like the valley, I think sometimes, because a lot of guys who are watching, now you, Muli, you've called me to an interview and you just posted on your phone. You see guys, man.
Relax, some things, bro.
See,
Keep it going.
These guys are serious, bro.
I'm listening, bro. Now are you stopping the episode, man?
So there's something I wanted to ask about the valleys, which is because it's between, which is what I think we'll talk about even in the Bible study, when it's between now you, the things you can control. When you're saying you being God over your life, and then the things you cannot control, right? Because those are now the things we're wrestling with, right? It's like by nature, we know dominion. We want to be
top down.
Yeah, we want to have control over our lives, our businesses, our finances, our everything. And then when you lose a bit of that, and now let's say you're in a valley, and then I think I was reading a verse today. It was talk about cast all of your anxieties unto Him. Like, how do you do that practically? That's something that, like, I think I'm still figuring out. Because when you're in that like when you're in that position where it's like there's nothing you can do
That's when you want to do
in
something.
that moment. There's like there's nothing you can do.
Yeah.
Then that's the moment now you need to cast your, and then because I think depression comes from like I think a lack of control as well, right? Because it's like you go into a slump of like, okay, this thing that you've been trying to change has not changed, has not improved.
Yeah.
You have done so many,
Yeah.
and then it's still in this, and then that's when now it goes into maybe some anxiety to now into a depression, you know.
And actually, that's 100%. And I think there's been multiple depressions that I think I've battled with. There's been the burnout depression, which is what you're talking like. I'm just trying everything and it's not working. And I'm burning out now, and I'm trying, and then you just realize I can't. And then you end up losing motivation a lot of times. Then you get into this slump. And for guys, I don't know if say guys, for me, one of the heaviest depressions, one that almost, like I even was prescribed medication, but I had to dash that thing. So meds is just another crutch. I know what I'm doing. Another depression is the lack of purpose, which I see a lot of young men go through. Like
The Bible says is where there's no vision, the people perish.
And the truth is that for young men especially, purpose is the biggest thing.
Yeah.
Like you're saying about it, it's time to make a bit more cash than you were before will not bring you the fulfillment.
100%.
But living on a purpose that is being driven by something bigger than you is. And then you ask, how do you get out of there? There's this quote that has really been ringing in my ears the last, just coming out of my other season and finding myself again. Because I mean, that happens over time, is that you cannot think yourself into good action. You have to act yourself into good thinking. So a lot of young guys or people will be in the season sitting like,
Idle.
my life is what? And then you'll be thinking about, what do I need to do to get out? What do I need to do to get out?
Yeah.
But it's in the action. So when you pray, there's faith. I would say the first thing is pray, even if you don't know how to. I know a lot of young guys don't know how to. They're like, I don't know how to connect. Say, God, help me. I don't even know how to do this. Help me. Start there. Number 2, get control of your body. Start working out.
As a man, that's like
You need to.
paramount.
You need to. Because you start losing your strength, you start going deeper and deeper.
Yeah, 100%.
Do that, and then start cutting out the things that are very negative. Stop watching porn. Because as a younger man, this is what things guys battled with porn, and this is a new generation. We have access.
Yeah.
From like the age of like 6 years old, people have access now.
And that is destroying our minds.
Completely.
Let go of alcohol and the drugs.
Like people can't even, because of the way the things you're talking about has rewired their minds, they can't even sit and watch an episode like this for more than 30 minutes without them tweaking. They need another distraction. And that's now when you're on that journey of becoming a better person, you have to rewire your brain, because the way you've exposed it to high levels of dopamine that's not really deserved, you start you start destroying how your body is supposed to naturally operate without so much excitement. But we're always overstimulating ourselves, and that's another thing. It's an escape for a lack of purpose. And for me, I say this: purpose knows no age, but it knows the posture of the heart. So that saying came from me meditating as like, you can be 10 years old and you found your purpose, but someone can be in their 60s, 70s, and they don't know what they're doing on this earth. They're just existing. And that's a wake-up call for whoever is listening, that you think there's this lie we're told, you just figure things out. Things will just align. But some people have been living like their slave 9-to-5 job, trying to wait for things to align for them, and they're in depression because they know the life that they wanted to live is just slowly passing by. So what do you have to say concerning that?
And I think that's a bit, you see, you can't put that on people. You see, like that 9 to 5, I have friends who that is what they want. Like they're okay. I think for me, a 9 to 5 or sitting down in an office, I get fidgety. I can't. But the truth is that purpose is bigger than your career. Purpose is bigger than the life you're living. Purpose is, I think, what you're called on this earth to do.
100%.
And I think that purpose comes in with seeking a power greater than yourself. So I wouldn't even say, we even say what people are struggling with. It's destroying people. No, it's not. It's just it's part of the journey. Like, I think that you must fall to get back up. Okay. I think, like, even if you start at 10 and get your purpose, be okay to fall. Because if you get it, you start thinking you figured it out young, there's pride that comes in with that. And that is itself.
I think it's a difference from thinking that you found your purpose to knowing that you're walking in your purpose. Because there's a deeper fulfillment that comes from walking in your purpose that nothing else can satisfy. And it's a matter of, for example, your purpose is something that will also come to you in a natural way. And this is something that you need to really reflect to. Like, for example, someone can say, Glenn, you just have such a natural way of talking to people, and you just have great counsel. Whenever I come to you, I'm always inspired. I leave with something. That's a sign into what his purpose is potentially. You could be a counselor, a therapist, a psychology-based, someone who's based in that. And it comes to you naturally. You don't even have to like work extremely hard. However, there are those who refine their gifts and refine that purpose. So I think that's a sign of those who are seeking, how do I find my purpose? It's one of those things of like, what comes to you in a natural way that always gets people's attention. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I hear that, but I think, you don't find your purpose. You build it. Because it's on the journey.
Elaborate.
So your purpose grows on the journey. Mm-hmm. Maybe Glenn is blessed with the power of speech, right? Maybe Muli is blessed with the power of pulling people together. You may not be at the point where you are useful to do your gift just yet. So each season can be a hurdle. And sometimes the fall is what you need to fortify. Because purpose is part of that journey. And I won't tell young men, if you're depressed, you're out of your purpose. It is, you need to keep walking to find it. It's not lock in and think.
Yeah, I think I agree with that in the sense of, there's, I think the difference between your purpose and your assignment. Because I think your assignment can
changes all the time
as you go. So, but your purpose, I think, that's still something, if you had to put like a one-liner or something, you have the vision, mission, purpose. It's like, dog, that's a very hard thing for people to do as a one-liner.
But you see, it's not impossible, because Jesus' one purpose was revealed through Scripture to destroy the works of the devil. But then you see, he did so many different things. So like a purpose is not necessarily something that bounds you to that thing. Like
so I'd say then I think the way to, because I think there's still like this as you go thing, which now comes in with faith, where like it's discovered in the obedience, discovered in the moving in this direction that God is calling.
The falling and getting back up.
Yes. So I think it's more like, maybe the question is like, what is God's assignment for you in this season, right? In this season, what is his assignment for you? Is it, if things are going off over here, but is it this way that you need to, is this the thing you need to be
and even to
on?
add to that, it's powerful when you realize God has already revealed everyone's purpose to a certain extent through Scripture. If you believe in Jesus and you believe in his kingdom, you have a mandate already. Your purpose is to accept the ministry of reconciliation, meaning we're living in the last days. Like we're living in the last of the last days. Like life is not, Jesus is not coming back in the next 200 plus years. I'm not saying that that's 100% true, but I'm just like, at the signs in which things are happening in today's day and age, you can definitely tell, the five wise foolish, the five foolish virgins, you can tell that there are those who recognize that based on the signs Jesus was talking about, things are actually getting really, really close.
But you see, even where I'll enter there is like, this discussion is not a religious one.
No, of course.
And you see, a lot, even like the things of the end days and what, I wouldn't even tell someone who's going through a hard time to focus there. Is that your journey is your fruit. You know what I mean? If you are someone, if you're in a dark place, all I'll say is get up and walk, right? And have faith that the sun will shine again.
But that's the hard part. I think that's the hard depression part. Of being, because you don't feel like doing anything, right? You don't feel like moving. You don't feel like talking to anyone. You don't want to receive calls. You don't want to make calls. You want to binge watch things or something. So I think maybe when we're saying walk, maybe it's also just good to go outside. Like,
Exactly.
like
Literally walk.
physically outside. Because I think
100%.
when you're outside, you're in the natural light. You're not going to, like, if it's porn you're wrestling with, you're not going to, you can't watch it in front of guys. You know what I mean? So like, even like in your yard, if you're switching off, you need to keep the lights on. Sleep earlier, wake up earlier. It's like something like that about being in the light can really help. Going outside, being even in with people, but you're still feeling away. At least you're with people. At least you can be seen. You can't fly away with that thought of depression of life is like gee what right now.
Actually, and that's a deep one. Isolation. Like, one of the biggest things that a lot of young guys go through, which is like, it is understandable. Like, when you're in that really dark spot, you want to thug it out. I don't want to say I'm weak. I don't want to show anyone I'm weaker. So, but what that does, that destroys you, because you will isolate and you will go into your cave. But like, I think what you've said, Glenn, is important. Even if you are not going to interact, just being with people, just sitting, like, okay, I'll go to so and so's house. I don't have to say anything, but I can do that.
But see, let's talk about those who don't have that access. You know what I mean? Because not everyone has the luxury of that type of friendships. So it's like in those seasons where you actually, no one is calling you, no one is checking up on you. You don't even. It even heightens the depression, because you're like, I actually no one is looking up for me.
Right.
So even now, if I leave the earth, nothing will change. No one will really be. My presence wouldn't be missed. So it's like, to those people, it's like, what's one thing you wish they would know about depression when you're in that specific place?
I mean, I've been to that spot where it's, what's the purpose of living here, right? It's and that's something that is so strange, because it's not something you can be proud to say. and you get there through the delusions of your mind. A lot of times you've been curtailed and isolated. And what happens in those seasons, you're saying people don't have it, but a lot of times, as you're going down the negative path, you will cut bridges to make sure and ensure you're alone. And it's the thing of catch yourself. And even if you're at the bottom, right? Listen, even if the friends and whatever is not the first step, start with what Glenn was saying, even the routine. Go outside. Start waking up a bit earlier. Just do exercise. 5 push-ups in a day. Start ticking boxes. And then number 3, call your grandmother, not even to tell her I'm depressed. Hi, Shosha, how are you? Something about men is we do not get depressed. We do not get relief the same way women do. For us, I cannot just sit around
from conquest
and talk. Exactly. You know what I mean? I can't, if I just sit here and talk about my problems, I'll feel even more depressed.
Exactly.
I need to feel like I am worth something in this world. Exactly.
So
yeah.
Now let's talk about therapy for men. Do you think now, like, with the social media and comparison culture, with how people are like, therapy is the way, men need to focus on therapy, healing, and that you've mentioned that men heal differently and find relief differently. So what was some of the non-negotiables you had when you were in that place to get out of?
No, I think if you have the capacity to get therapy, do it, but preferably get it with a man, and a man older than you. Because I've realized that women's therapy is very different. So I've had a therapist who was a lady, and it's just like they can't understand the rage in my heart, because I can't even name any of the other emotions I'm going through right now. So I am angry, but I'm angry because I'm sad. I'm angry because I'm lonely. So this is the emotion I can show to hold my strength.
Yeah.
So for me, what changes? I had an old man who was actually a mentor. Because I went through therapy, but it was a mentor who got to me. He said, "Young man, the sun will shine again." And I don't know what that did for my conscience. For me, if I'm going to sit with someone, for men, you need therapy with a solution.
Yeah.
I think with a lot of the therapists, it's talk it out, talk therapy.
Yeah.
I think that, you do need therapy if you're at a point where you're losing your mind. You need another party to come in. And the therapy doesn't mean a paid therapist. Because sometimes with paid therapists, you're paying someone to lie to them.
Facts.
Like you're paying someone just to tell them what they want to hear, tick a box, chomoka.
Yeah.
What you need is a man. And another thing is men only grow in the presence of other men.
That's
and
facts.
that's a heavy one. Like only grow in the presence of other men who you can look up to. So one is humbling yourself enough to go before someone I respect, look them in the eye, and be vulnerable even if I'm not saying everything, right? And then for me, what changed my life, it may not be what I want immediately. It says, young man, cut it out. It's time to start stepping.
Yeah.
I understand where you are,
Yeah.
but this shall pass.
I like the idea of someone older than you, because I think sometimes you look at our situations, right, and you think, you get, no one's gone through this thing, right? This situation
It's
is
long.
booky. You think it's so unique to you, so special to you, and everything. And you might find people who are older than you that if you saw them right now, the lives they're living, they went through that. They went through a situation just like that, if not worse.
Well, exactly.
And they're fine. They're happily married, children. They don't look like they're
suffering.
They're suffering.
It's a blessing.
They look very okay. Yeah. But I think while we're going through it in this, especially now going in your 20s, you're like, yo, this is like no one has had it like this. You think it's like, and then you credit your self-sabotage on such a high level.
That's deep.
For real.
All of it is you. Look at what you did here, and you did this, and you did this, and you chommed here, and you chommed here. That's why this happened. That's why you got here.
And it's deep for like people who are highly ambitious, or like who have that sense of hyper independency, but your hyper independency is rooted on trauma of fear of rejection, fear of being a burden. The things that I experienced, and I've even talked about them with you guys. You guys have actually helped me a lot, like unpack a lot of things more than therapy would. But I think one thing that is a highlighter here is that when you're in that state, never like believe those opinions and thoughts that come to you, because it's so easy to latch on one negative thought and it just takes you down a spiral. And that's where the aspect of your thoughts are not always your own. And sometimes these depressive episodes, or when you're in that quarter-life crisis, that uncertainty can drown you, and you'll be like, yo, for real, I actually don't know where my life is going. Like, you have a whole breakdown. And I mean, I'm sure we've all experienced that. I frequently came out of that episode where I'm like, what's the whole point of everything? Like, what's my why? You know what I mean? So I think it's powerful to genuinely surround yourself with guys who are older, and like, bro.
And I think it's okay to even just like start with a call, man.
Yeah.
Like,
Facts.
just an impromptu call to someone.
And there's no goal with that call.
Yeah, like I think even for whoever's, just call someone, even if you've not talked to them and it's not, you don't.
Yeah.
Maybe that will start now. Because I know we can all think of someone that is older. Of course, sometimes, the first instinct is parental figures, but if that's not there, then
Sometimes they're the cause of your problems.
Sometimes that's what you're trying to unpack. You're trying to unpack the situation in that context.
Facts.
So I think it's speaking to me as well as we're talking about it, because I'm like, sometimes when you overthink the whole mentorship thing, it's like, things have to align this way, and then now you have now this like agreement to this. But who is initiating it, right? Who's the, like, if it's like because it's like a father figure situation, right? And sometimes maybe it's actually from that reaching out that we need to, do ourselves.
I think that is the biggest part, because in the step of reaching out, even if the first convo you're not telling them everything, that alone even gives you a level of confidence that, okay, I'm going to survive. That first reach out, and then they give you the time of day. I think, and
speaks a lot.
you know what I mean. It even tells me like maybe I am worth it.
Yeah.
Because I think for a lot of men's depression, it is I am worthless in this world. This world would be better off without me, or I am not doing anything.
You're not useful.
You've not
What is
achieved
my
what
use?
you needed to
Yeah,
what you thought you would
I don't even
achieve.
know what I'm here to achieve. Can I
Right.
achieve anything?
Yeah.
For me, I mean, what called me out and what calls me out now? Because I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, I figured this thing out, bro. This is a consistent journey. And I think what I'm learning from those older than me, I need to stop taking myself so seriously. Taking myself seriously has put me in a deeper hole. Because then that makes me so... I can be an ass to myself. Bro.
Hypercritical.
Like, bro, I will have made a small mistake, beat myself about it, so I need to make a bigger one so I can validate the evilness I'm talking to myself. Like sometimes we're self-fulfilling prophecy of evil to ourselves. Like, I am an evil person. I'm not worth it. So I need to now go out and do something to
manifest
prove that I'm not worth it. Yeah, you guys see. And then what happens is you need to catch yourself in the spiral. Because most times it is a spiral. And most times you've never hit your rock bottom. Like the rock bottom is when you're dead. If you're not yet dead, you can still crawl out of that rock bottom. And I think for me, the greatest thing that helped me out of even my more recent ones, and every time I call this mentor who I've gotten, right? Who's an uncle who I just called out of nowhere. Like, I am struggling. He said, Kijana, you know what? Call me once every 2 weeks. And he told me, these are not problems. Like, sometimes you need to hear that. You know, like, I'm so fair. I'm so like, I am worked up. And he told me, young man, these are not even problems. And then he's laughing. And I'm like, hey. You know what I mean? I'm thinking, hey, my life is done.
And you know, you can also have that same effect with someone like 5, 6, 7 years younger than you. Because you've been through that. You know that at that point it was it was dramatic, bro. It was booky. You thought like, yo, you're finished, fam. You know?
Yeah, 100%.
But when you get a call, you look at it and tell him, hey,
I can make it today.
yeah.
So let me ask you on a closing note, what message would you now give to someone who's in the early 20s? They feel behind in life. They feel stuck. They're seeing their other friends achieving certain things. Like you achieved a lot of success at a young age, or rather what the world would call success. But, you know, there was other things that were happening behind the scenes. So how would that person leave this episode feeling seen?
Listen, man, I can't make you feel seen. If you want to be seen, you'll be seen. You know, first, I'm not here to cuddle anyway. If guys want to get out, get out. If guys want to be patted, be patted. You will not get out of depression being told, oh, it's okay, babe. Yo, I'm not here to cuddle you guys. The truth is, wake your ass up. Like, no one's coming to save you. One,
That's facts.
no one is coming to save you. And two, the sooner you stop competing with others, the more enjoyment you have in this world. Like, you're saying that, oh, I look like I have this, but don't forget, I'm comparing myself to people who have 10 times more.
Yeah.
Right? And I'm comparing the worst of myself to the best of someone else. That's the danger of comparison. Well, I'll never compare worst to worst. I'll compare the worst of me to the best of this guy, the best of this guy, the best of this guy. So I'm like, okay, I'm a good dad, you know. I'm focusing on this thing. I'll focus on this one guy who's, hey, he looks like a superstar dad. Don't know what else is going through. So I'll beat myself up there. This guy who's biashara, he's eating, breathing, and sleeping biashara. Even me, I'm a joker. You know, like, I think the sooner you get your head out of your own ass, run to God. Like, you don't have to know him. But I think it's critical on this earth for a man to not be led by his pride. Pride is the killer. Depression is caused by pride. That thing of you hiding away is you saying, no one can figure out my thing. I am the only one who can go through this. Yeah. We are called to be in community. Things like even our Bible study have helped me multiple times. It's like, yes, we have a community. You may not have a community right now. Start building one. Talk to one guy once. You know?
That's how it started.
I'll tell the people, my biggest thing is start walking.
Yeah.
Don't wait until, I'm getting the idea. Yeah, wake up.
Yeah, that's how it started for us. I think we started in Spirit, we've grown up to around 200 plus people in the community, but it started off with conversations with one person, then build to 2, then build to 10, then just climax from there. And I think we're looking for other people to bring us the solution, and sometimes it lies within us. So whoever is listening to this, I hope this message that we've talked about today's episode has actually helped you. And I think it's very timely, because
this is actually mental
June.
Yeah, June is men's mental health awareness month. Yeah,
there we go.
I thought those months are every month.
No, it's specifically June. So it's right on
and
time.
it's the 6 months. The 6 is the number of man.
Yes,
so
exactly.
It's deep. It's deep. So, brother, thank you for having. Taking time out of your busy day to come and chop up a conversation.
Thanks for coming, bro.
We don't take it lightly.
Yes,
I genuinely hope this message has actually helped someone timely. So
I pray so.
Yeah.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers. Yeah. Closing notes.
Closing. Yeah. That's the thing. Is I want to, Glenn, do you have anything to add on?
I think what's like spoken to me about through this whole thing is, I think once you like cry out to God, right? Like, what's the next step? You know what I mean? Because I think now when you go to God and you're like, hey, this is how you're feeling, this is the situation, and then now you go back to yourself. It's like, oh, I'm gonna figure this thing out.
Yeah.
And I think in between that, there needs to be that call to a mentor, because God he's made us to work with each other. He's made us to help each other, right? So I think that's what's something that I think can help anyone, because what it does is it makes your problem look so small.
Exactly.
And you need it to look small.
Exactly. Yes.
The smaller it looks, we
don't need validation of our problems.
You don't need to validate. If you talk to someone your age
100%.
about it, or someone like your peer, they can understand it, but it can also seem large to them because they've not
start betting in them as well.
Yeah, they've not gone through that. They'll be like, "Hey, you're going. What's happening?"
Tough times.
Hey, they can look at you and say, "Yo,
tweaking.
Yo, this
You're
is
even
bookie."
doing well, bro.
Yeah, they really know. They don't know what to do. They don't know what to help. So we need. I'd say even minimum 10 years. If you can get to 10 years, someone older.
Yeah.
But
even better.
The powerful thing is the Bible says God is really close to the brokenhearted and those who are crushed in spirit. So if no one is there to see you, the scripture is there to help you. And again, we as Sight and Spirit and Glenn and I, we're here to help whoever needs. Reach out to us.
For sure.
We'll put the description we'll put our contacts in the description. And Muema, where can guys find you?
Biashara Diaries.
Okay. What's Biashara Diaries?
Nice.
Don't know. Give us like a 10-second trailer.
Okay, no, Biashara Diaries is a little podcast I started. I just started for fun. For me, I think that we're called to give back in whatever we do. So for me, I think I realized that maybe a lot of Kenyans lack the wisdom, because I realized I don't really have that much to offer in advice. I don't think I'm advising people, but I have advisors and I meet them. Some of them are willing to be on camera. So I said I'm going to take and I'm going to introduce people to some of my mentors, because I think Kenyans, right now, we are starved of information. So we're looking at Western people as our ideals of success.
That's true.
So let's build Kenyan success and let's build Kenya.
Thank you for being the bridge,
Yes,
one
sir.
day maybe he might be the president of Kenya. He definitely says he wants to be the president. So we've had an interview with the potential president of Kenya in the next few years. So we're honored.
Only
We're
God
grateful.
knows. Only God knows.
Amen. But yes, thank you guys for joining. It's been Sight and Spirit. You must believe in the unseen more than the seen.
Until the unseen becomes the seen in your life.
Thank
That's
you for
fine.
tuning in.
That's fine.
Peace.
Peace.